AITAH for locking my sister and her kids out of the basement, my room. To make a long story short, my sister, 32, and I, 26F, ended up moving back home at the same time due to COVID. I'm WFH, and he lost her job. Because she has 3 kids, she made a big stink to keep the entire second floor to her and her kids. I got stuck with the creepy, musky basement because of her, only it turned out to be a dream. I'm very introverted, and nobody wanted to go down to the creepy, unfinished, spider-infested basement. So it worked. I spent every month since trying to finish the basement. I finished the floor with epoxy, fixed the water heater on my own dime, got a split unit for heating, cooling, exterminated, then installed some nice track lighting, got a mini fridge and foosball table. Now it's my own personal clubhouse. Until recently, when I noticed someone was stealing my energy drinks and messing with my game consoles, nobody confessed. So I bought a lock and key for both doors, gave my dad the only spare, it's his house, and locked up on Thursday, so I could go to an office meeting. That's when we found out it was me nephew, because he left his stuffed toy in there. And apparently whined all day until my dad got home and let him in. Now my sister is raising hell about how I shouldn't get so much space to myself since I don't have kids, that I don't pay enough rent to justify it, that nothing in this arrangement is fair, and she is demanding that I leave the space open as a family room. That was not the arrangement though. The basement is my room, and I'm the one who spent all that time and money fixing it. Nobody wanted to be there until I was finished with it. Things got heated and I called her kid a filthy brat, because he is. He gets mud everywhere, never washes his hands, and he's broken just about every console she's ever gotten the kids. And now she wants me kicked out of the house. AITAH? Quick update. So after we all cooled down, I talked to my father. He said he has zero interest in letting the kids down there. When my sister tried to protest, he pointed out to her that the place is still not safe for kids. There are still rat traps, exposed wood. He pointed out that she, herself, kept screaming about there being mold. There isn't. So he doesn't want any kids down there. And unless she's willing to pay for an inspector to check, she's not, she has no say. So that shut her up really quick. Then she got into it with me for the filthy brat comment, and I was about to apologize because I washiated. It was messed up. Only Dad hopped in at that moment and chose to have a serious conversation with her about the youngest not washing his hands. He apparently ruined several leftovers in the fridge last week and slimed the butter. I don't know. I don't want to know, which my dad did want to bring up anyway, because the kid is a problem and won't bathe. But I stepped out at that point because it sounded like he was mad. Very few things make my dad mad than having to throw away perfectly good food. It's one of his triggers. So everything is shaping my way. For now. AITAH for ratting out my mum to a nurse and not relaxing after surgery? I've just had breast reduction surgery a week ago. I went from AJ down to AC cup. I had to have my nipples cut off, iced and then grafted back on, so you can imagine how painful it is for me currently. I have a 17-month-old, her dad isn't in the picture, and I moved in with my parents because they said they would help me. Well, my mum did. I obviously can't bend down and shouldn't be picking my toddler up. My mum has been annoying me so much lately. When my daughter poops, my mum says she will go and grab her changing stuff and lift her onto her mat and we can both sort her out. I say okay, and wait with the wipes out, a nappy bag and a new nappy ready. After a few minutes I go and see what's taking so long, only to find my mum completely doing something else. She was even unloading the dishwasher once. I reminded her that my daughter needed changing and she said she was going to sort it right out. I went back upstairs and after 15 more minutes and my daughter still not changed. I went and lifted her up and did it myself. My mum got annoyed and said she was just about to do it, even though she was now reloading the dishwasher. My daughter had been left in a poppy nappy for around 20 minutes and apart from it stinking, it wasn't fair at all and hygienic for her. Poor little soul. This isn't the first time this has happened. She says she will do something and then goes off and does something completely pointless and I end up doing the thing. Surprise, surprise, I have popped a few stitches and died to go back. The nurse asked what I've been doing and I was honest and told her. She said I'm not meant to be picking up my 17-month-old and my mum was supposed to be helping. My mum had come and picked me up from there when I had it done and said she would help to the nurses, etc. I was honest again and said she isn't helping but I still have to take care of my daughter and change her when she goes off. The nurse wasn't pleased at all and had a conversation with my mum after I left. Now my mum is in a mood with me and said I'm making her look bad, I'm overreacting and such. I asked her if she would have liked to have been left in her own SHT for 20 minutes with it all going up her back and not being able to do anything, and she said no. I then asked why does she expect my daughter to be left like that? She still says I'm being dramatic and she was just about to do it, etc. Edit. I got my surgery now because it was really hurting my back and making my shoulders bent in. My doctor suggested having it now and I said I'll wait, but my mum pushed me to get it done ASAP and said she would help out with everything and for me to just rest. Said it's 6 weeks out of my life and she has everything under control. AITAH for telling my mom and her husband they had no right to touch my locket? BG on the locket. When I was 5, my dad bought me a locket with pictures of him, my mom, my sister and brother, both older. When I was 7, my dad and sister died in a car accident. My locket became something so treasured I wore it all the time and didn't care if it was a formal event or not. When I was 8, my mom remarried. Mom's husband is Jeff. Jeff had a 1-year-old called Nathan whose mom was not in the picture. Mom and Jeff then had 2 daughters together pretty quickly. My locket was something they all knew about because they'd see me wear it. Mom asked me a couple of times to add Jeff, Nathan and the girls and I told her I didn't want to. So when I was 16, Mom and Jeff bought me a new locket with their photos in it. I never wore it, but I put it in a jewelry box I own. There were some comments and tensions that I never wore the new one. My half-sisters were upset about me not changing which one I wore all the time. I explained why the original was special and they told me the new one was more special because it included them. My mom was annoyed at me for how I handled it and Jeff bitched at me for not appreciating what they did for me. I'm 19 now and I live in a small apartment. My brother lives with his girlfriend. A couple of weeks ago we stayed at my brother's house and when I woke up that morning, my locket had been moved. I don't wear it to bed in case it breaks. Went about my day and that weekend. When I got home a couple of days later, I wanted to look at the photos inside and noticed they'd taken out my dad's photo and tried to squeeze in Jeff, Nathan and the girls. I was angry. I called Mom and asked her if she'd seen my locket and she told me I drove them to do what they did because I was selfish and inconsiderate and broke their hearts for the last 3 years by showing which locket I favored and which family I favored as well. She hung up on me. I tried to calm down, went over to their house, Mom and Jeff's, and I told them they had no right to touch my locket. Jeff told me they had every right to show a more accurate representation of my family and that I was hurting Nathan and the girls by wearing something that didn't include them when he had something that did. I lost it. I told them they did not have that right and they do not get to tell me who I carry around in my locket or not. I told him he would never be deserving of a spot, told Mom she had lost her spot, and then I left saying they needed to stay the hell away from me. My brother couldn't believe they did it. Sided with me. Told Mom to accept we didn't feel the way she wanted us to feel. Mom and Jeff said I was onsole. Mom said since Dad bought it while they were married, she also bought it and had every right to interfere with it. AITAH here. ETA. Just wanted to add that my original locket is set up where you can add little sections to it to add more photos. I just never chose to do that because I wanted it for the people I always considered my core family, or the people I was closest to. Part of me wants to remove Mom now. Since this happened. AITAH for refusing to share a room with my stepsister? I'm 15F, on a travel team for soccer. Usually when I have a game I go with my dad, but this one I asked during spring break, so my dad, stepmom, brother, 13, and stepsister, 9, are here and we came 2 days early and are staying 3 days late. I like my stepsister, but she's high maintenance. She has nightmares and wakes up screaming. My stepmom has to spend an hour every night putting her to bed. She has accidents at night, and she acts like she's 5 or 6, not 9. We rented a 3-bedroom house for this trip, so my dad and stepmom get a room, my brother gets a room, and I'm supposed to be sharing with my stepsister. On top of her being normally high maintenance, she also has bronchitis and wakes up coughing in the middle of the night. The first night she ended up sleeping in my dad's and stepmom's bed and I really liked having the room to myself. Then the second night they put her tobed in my room. I hated having my stepmom here for so long and having to be quiet after 7. Her bedtime is 8, but at 7 they start bedtime stories and my stepmom lays down with her and rubs her back and they want me to be quiet so she could calm down and go to sleep. I was FaceTiming my friend and ended up waking her up, so I told her to go to her mom, then I put all of her stuff outside and locked the door. My stepmom took her to sleep with them, then came to yell at meth next morning because I didn't want to babysit her kid all night. She was going to take me and my stepsister out to eat and shopping after my game, but she ended up skipping my game to take her instead. She ended up buying a tent and an air mattress for me stepsister, and she's sleeping in their room, but my stepmom is still mad at me and my dad thinks I was rude and could have sucked it up for a few days. AITAH for not sharing a room with my stepsister?